How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog and Spawn is finally here. So you know what that means, let's find out if he's terrific or terrible. So this first variation is actually bare bones, no special custom abilities. So with that said, let's check out his universal attacks, the sweep. So this thing is actually pretty crazy. Fun fact, it's a clone of your opponent, so check that out, Demon Devora. But if you're fighting Katana, it would be Demon Katana. That's really cool, right? Very weird sweep, but check out the range on this thing. Crazy. Might be one of the furthest range sweeps in the game. Really strong. Now, Spawn does not duck when doing it though, so he is vulnerable to high attacks or high special moves, projectiles, all that stuff. Even so, really good range. Alright, but how about the pokes? These can be very important for a character. Down 1. 7 frames, alright, pretty standard. In the range, not too bad. Okay, so he is not slow, he's not Sindel, don't freak out everyone. Down 3 is 8 frames, wow. I'm not sure why you would do it most of the time. It does hit low, but down 1 seems better in almost every regard. Down 4, ooh, pretty decent range on that. Okay, so Spawn is pretty good, 11 frames too. Spawn has very strong pokes, nothing wrong here. Nothing crazy either, but very solid pokes, not too shabby. The uppercut. Okay, it looks like it's very vertical. Not too bad horizontal either though. He's not Jackie, he's not Kotal Khan. His uppercut is fairly decent. Looks pretty darn good, hits pretty high above him, I imagine. Let's go ahead and check though. We don't have to imagine. We can find out. Oh yeah, if you're in the air at all, this thing is gonna catch you. Oh, it's a wall. Yeah, it's a really, really good uppercut. So his uppercuts are super duper strong. Let's check out the throws, the forward throw. This one crushing blows, I believe. Okay, pretty decent, knocks the opponent away. Back throw. That's a fun animation, huh? Okay, so about the same spacing, really good for zoning. So if you want to zone with Spawn, and he does have some keep away variations, these throws can be really good. Now the crushing blow requirements are actually quite odd for these things. Alright, so here you go. As we can see, his forward throw only crushing blows if he's the one in the corner. Very weird. So let's go ahead and set that up. I'm going to put Spawn in the corner, and then to make things a bit easier, I'm going to have like Devora just dash towards me. And let's check it out. And there you go, and you get a full jump in, by the way. There is so much hit stun, you get a full jump in combo, so that's pretty crazy. I have no idea what Spawn's combos are, but I did watch the podcast. Let's see if I can get this. Alright, oh my god, almost 40% there, okay. Now the opponent could break away at some point, but pretty late in the combo, so that's some really decent damage. Very decent damage. His throw crushing blow is quite bizarre, he has to be in the corner, but the cool thing about that is, if you duck a high attack, or do a delayed wake up and catch the opponent with a forward throw, that's really gonna hurt. Oddly enough, Spawn's one of the few characters who shouldn't be very scared when he's the one in the corner, so just keep that in mind. He's very unique in that regard. What else do we have here to check out? Oh, the jump-ins. Jumping kick. It's kind of a funny animation. Not quite Baraka, but very good kick, honestly. Nothing wrong with it. Jumping 1. That's the combo starter, baby. Jumping 2. Oh, that is the air-to-air, I imagine, but not bad. You do have to delay it a little bit. It does more damage though, and it's not a very bad angle. It can still start off combos. You can definitely make things work with this. Okay, yeah, you can definitely make it happen. Alright, I like it, I like it. Spawn's universals seem pretty darn strong. Nothing wrong with them, and his crushing blow throw is very unique. Alright, so now onto the attack strings and the special moves. Let's go. Alright, and here we go. Every attack string, so DED dead. Alright, knocks him down, plus 32. That's pretty much enough for a forward dash, and you're already back in there. Pretty darn good. And these first two, by the way, check them out on block. That mid is plus 2. Pretty nice, huh? Pretty nice, not too bad. And next up we have Soul Chamber. Now this one is interesting because on hit and block, it's pretty much identical to DED dead. But the difference is you can hold down that third hit, and if you do, it's plus 7. That's a big deal for Spawn because Spawn has some beefy mids. They're a bit slower, right? 13 and 16. But when you're plus 7, it doesn't really matter, does it? The opponent's not going to interrupt it, especially from that distance. They're not very close after they block this, so they can't just jab you out of it. They pretty much have to hold these mids, especially this one right here, because it's 13 frames, you're at plus 7. So that's a pretty big deal. Now there is a gap before that third hit. There is a gap, but if they're bad at punishing it, you get the crushing blow. And it does about 30%. That's a bit too much if you ask me, but then again, with that 5-frame input buffer on block, chances are they're going to punish it correctly. If they read you're going to hold it down, then they can interrupt you. But the thing is here, you can actually mix it up. If they keep trying to interrupt that third hit, just don't hold it down. And you'll catch them, get a knockdown, and you're plus 32 on hits. So that's the gimmick here. Either they can punish you, or if you hold it down, you're plus 7, but they can also interrupt it. That's the catch-22. Even so, there is a crushing blow. Okay, next up, fighting the Flebiacs. I don't get that reference. As a huge comic book nerd, I don't know what the Flebiacs actually are. Okay, mid overhead. Now I'm pretty sure that overhead is very punishable. Yes, minus 12, so gotta be careful. Now keep in mind, Spawn does have some low hitting special moves in some variations, so that's actually a 50-50 in some situations. And this is also a meterless combo starter, so check that out, right? Didn't cost any meter, and the opponent has been launched, and you can do stuff. So pretty decent combo starter, but it's also very risky, it's punishable. Okay, Heaven and Hell. This one is a dial-in, you gotta do it very quick too. Okay, pretty decent damage, plus 19 on hit, that's not too bad. And the first 2 hits aren't bad either. It's a high and then a mid. What's the mid like? Minus 5, so still safe. And does the whole thing come out on block? It definitely comes out on block. Be careful. Do not dial in the whole thing. Honestly, I don't like dial-ins. They tend to be pretty weak in this game, and this dial-in seems pretty weak too. Might be good for ending combos. Now, oddly enough, this string actually does crushing blow, but the 3rd hit has to land by itself. Even so, you're put into a fall down state and you can do a jump in on the way down. So a jump in 2 or a jumping 3, all that cool stuff. Now it's not the easiest thing to do because once again, it's a dial in, right? So not easy, but definitely possible. And afterwards you get a combo. Just make sure your opponent doesn't have 2 bars. That way they can't break away. And once again, this string is unsafe on block. So it's a very risky crushing blow. I don't think I recommend going for it that much, but even so, it is an option that you have. Facilitator's Decision. That's a mouthful. Okay, we already saw this string for extending combos. What's the final hit like on block? Minus 14. What's the first 2 like on block? Minus 6. So the first 2 are actually safe. And honestly, I don't see a reason to finish him most of the time. Here's one of those strings that you pretty much never want to finish anyway because the second hit is special cancelable and it's also safe on block. So it seems like most of the time you'll be doing the first 2 hits. Okay, Violator's Wrath. I know the Violator. I know him. Okay. Let's see, plus 28, that's not too bad. I actually think I like this one more than the other. What's the damage like comparatively? 78, so it does more damage than the Facilitator's Decision. Violator's Wrath seems better for extending combos maybe. And you get the knockdown too. What's it like on block, that 3rd hit? Oh yeah, it's like minus 23, super punishable, but lots of pushback, so some players might not know how to punish it. But even the second hit is very minus, so this string is what you want to do for combos maybe. It's about power, baby! Okay, that seems like good damage too, actually. 77, okay, not too bad. And on block, it's minus 16. Man, Spawn is an unsafe boy a lot of the time. I'm not sure why you would do this string either. Doesn't seem as good for combos. Tons of pushback though. I don't know, doesn't seem quite as good. It's not as much damage either for Wanda. That's his wife. Okay, it's a dial-in. And it knocks him into the air. Can you combo after that? Oh, gotta be careful. No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can special cancel that 3rd hit. What's it like on block? Maybe it's like super safe. Minus 6, yep, there you go. So that's why it's a dial-in. It's super safe on block. I like that. And that first hit is a low. How fast is it? 12 frames, okay. So I think that's gonna be what you wanna do after a confirmed down 1. Or after the opponent does down 1 and you block it, that's going to be your fastest mid to try and steal your turn back. 12 frames is pretty slow, but it's faster than anything else Spawn has that's a mid. So it seems like that's his best move a lot of the time, unless you just want to poke back. Or maybe throw that situation, you know, all that stuff. But that seems to be his best way to steal his turn back is this move. So that's interesting. And Spawn does have special moves that start off combos, so this could be decent. The thing is, that means his fastest move is not an easy hit confirm. Now you can actually special cancel that second hit, but you gotta dial in all 3 buttons. So you press all 3 buttons, wait for that second hit, and then special cancel it. It's not the easiest thing to do. So he's not quite as bad as Shao Kahn. I almost let that slip. I was gonna say he has the same problem Shao Kahn does, where his best mid hit confirm, or his fastest hit confirm, isn't good, doesn't lead to very much. Spawn actually won't have that problem. You just gotta get used to dialing in that full string, and then special canceling that second hit. Now keep in mind, because it is a dial-in, if the opponent gets knocked down and you go for this, they can roll and you're stuck in the entire animation. So just keep that in mind. Same goes for delayed wake up. So Spawn definitely has some really good range and he's not the fastest character, but I do notice he's very minus on a lot of things. So you want to be careful and learn which strings are punishable and which ones aren't, because Spawn has a lot that are punishable. But next up we have the special moves. Let's look at those. Once again, these are the default special moves that you have in any variation. Alright, and here we go. First up we have Necro Blast. Pretty standard projectile. Not the fastest startup, but not bad either. It's honestly a pretty decent projectile. It is a high attack, so the opponent can duck under it, but if they do that, you can amplify and you get the mid. What's the spacing like on these? Oh my god, they're so far apart. That's gonna make them so tough to jump over when you're far away. If they jump over one, the second one's pretty much guaranteed to hit them, and they also combo. Woof. That's really strong. A very decent projectile. What's it like on block? -3. Wow, it's a safe projectile. That means Spawn actually has ways to keep himself safe after doing something, so it is a high attack though, so it doesn't jail. I was gonna say that stuff like this, that's punishable, right? But you could do projectile. Thing is, I'm not sure if that jails, so the opponent could possibly still duck it. But it can keep you safe theoretically in a lot of situations. Now it's 0, so keep in mind your frame data varies on how far away you are when that mid is blocked. Very interesting, okay? Then we have Unholy Veil. This thing is awesome. It just looks really cool and you can charge it. It has a set distance, I think, though. It doesn't go any further because you charged it. But you can absorb projectiles while you charge it, and if you do, you get the crushing blow. So Devora, go ahead and throw a bug at me. Bink! Bonk! And 160, and it's a combo starter. Oh my goodness. So I would do that, right? That's my go-to combo starter for now. Oh. Oh my goodness, almost 30%. And that is not the combo you want to go for. It's just all I know for now. Okay, interesting. Very cool stuff. What's it like on block? Oh, only -4. Wow, there's a huge gap there though. So the opponent could interrupt you, but in saying that, boom, it has a cancel. So that's pretty crazy, right? Ooh, look at that. We got gimmicks, baby. We got gimmicks. So you could do that. You can cancel it and theoretically keep yourself safe. He recovers pretty quick. Now, you can't cancel it right away, and he also doesn't recover as fast as some characters like, say, Scorpion or even Katana, but he does recover pretty darn quickly. So if you ever do feel like spending one defensive bar on block to throw off the opponent, you can always cancel into this and go for a low, or cancel into it and go for a throw. All that sneaky stuff. Very crazy. So Spawn might be punishable on a lot of his strings, but he has special moves that keep him safe on block, or that he can cancel and go for a mix-up. So that's very interesting. Shattering War Club. Okay, this one is absurdly interesting because Spawn has something that no other character in the game has. So if you amplify this, doesn't seem like much, just a bit more damage, but here's the thing. If the opponent goes for a breakaway, this will re-launch them for a combo extender. It only works if the opponent breaks away, so check it out. I'm gonna tell Devora to do that. Look at that, we get a launcher, and I'm pretty sure you can jump in after that too, so that's just crazy. You have a move that can relaunch the opponent if they ever go for a breakaway. So earlier we had that crushing blow, right? If the opponent tries to break away after that crushing blow, you can hit them with this and get a full combo launcher again. So not only do they lose all 2 bars of defensive meter, but they still get comboed anyway. That's very strong. I really am hoping that at some point in time, every character gets a move like this, and I think it might happen. I think Spawn is like the beta tester for an idea like this, and if it goes well, every character might get it. And then last but not least, we have Fatal Phantasm. I think this might be my favorite move that Spawn has because it restands them. Let me go ahead and turn off breakaway, but check this out. So you can end a combo with this and it restands them. So no wake ups, and you're at +4, which once again, this move 13, right? If you're +4, that becomes pretty darn strong. Now they are a bit close, so maybe they could still jab out of it. 7 frames +4. Yeah, they could still beat this, theoretically, but they're gonna have to be really on point with those inputs. If they're even slightly off, they would get counter hit. And don't forget, you also have this move right here. So this is 12. So that should be almost fast enough. It's still technically a bit slower though than either a down one or a standing one from some characters. So they could still interrupt you, but you've still restood them. And then if you amplify it, you get a pretty juicy amount of damage. And it does knock down, but it's just a ton of extra damage. And this is the best way to end a lot of your combos in most situations. But I just love the fact that if you want to, you can keep the opponent standing. That's pretty crazy. No wake ups for them. And technically they do recover too fast for a lot of your stuff, but you could down one. That's still crazy fast, and you could do standing one. If they go for any standing attacks, you'll beat them and get a counter hit, right? You still have those options available to you. I just love the fact that Spawn can say no. I'm going to hit you, I'm going to combo you, but no wake ups. That's just really cool to me. Alright, and that is it for Spawn's universal toolkit. So now it's on to the variations. Alright, so first up we have variation 1, which is the gun variation, and that's why I have Spawn dressed appropriately. So first up we have gun blazing. Now this thing scares me because not only is it an anti-air that's pretty much a full screen anti-air that covers all of the air, but that first hit can actually clip the opponent's head. So it's an anti-air that hits the opponent when they're not jumping. That's pretty crazy. Now of course they can duck it, but still, that's pretty intense, and you can also amplify it. And if you do, you get the follow-up that does a lot of damage, and you get the gun walk. Sometimes you want to spend meter just for that gun walk because it looks really cool. Not gonna deny that. Okay, really cool looking move. Let's see what it's like when D'Vorah actually jumps. Like, how does it actually affect her? Okay, sends him like really far away. The follow-up works though. I think the follow-up is pretty much guaranteed to work. Yeah, that's nice. So even if you catch him super late, which you wouldn't, but if you do catch him super late, it will still work. That's nice. Catch him early, works. Catch him late, works. That's pretty crazy. Okay, it's a really solid anti-air. I was wondering, can you combo after it like in the neutral? No, I don't think so. So you can't combo after it by itself. You'd have to spin the bar, it looks like. And next up we have Blaze of Glory. This move actually is complicated, so by default, it's just a low, which means Spawn does have a 50-50 that we mentioned earlier. The overhead leads to a combo, but if you want to, you have a low. And that can be amplified, and you get more damage. Now, of course, it's not the same damage you would get from the combo, but still, that's pretty darn good. And I'm wondering, what's this like on block? Do I not have you set to auto? Sorry, D'Vorah. Let's see what this is like on block. Oh my gosh, very punishable. And does he walk towards them no matter what? Oh wow, it's not even full screen, so check that out. The guns are not full screen. That's interesting. The bullets seem to just die after a few feet. They appear full screen on hit, but it turns out no, they're not. They don't travel as far from far away, so I'm glad we know that now. But the point is you have a low or you have an overhead. But there's actually a lot more to this move, so you can hold it down and you can also cancel it by pressing down. Once again, that's good for the throw mix-ups and all that good stuff. So he already has this, which can be canceled, but in variation 1 he has this move which can also be canceled. And that's scary because the opponent might be expecting that low and they're trying to bait it and then punish it, right? They're waiting for it and they want to get that full punish, but you instead go, no, I'm just going to cancel it and then throw them. That's going to catch a lot of players off guard. Spawn's going to be tough if the opponent knows how to cancel correctly. And then on top of all of that, this cape is actually a parry, but according to the move description, it only parries lows. I want to go ahead and see if that's actually true, so I'm going to take control of D'Vorah. And then it has to be a low too, so even a down one doesn't count. It has to be a low. And there you go, you get a crushing blow. Now, I'm not sure if that's a full combo or if that's just an amplified option afterwards, but it has to be a low. But not just a low poke, right? It could be this. That's still a low. So any move that hits low and is a melee attack does not work on projectiles, but any low melee attacks do count and he gets that crushing blow. So that's pretty nice. And last but not least, we have Fallen Angel, which can only be done in the air. And believe it or not, this is a dive kick. Once again, got to set D'Vorah to auto. I keep turning her off, my bad. So it's very punishable, right? Check that out. But the cool thing is it's still a really good dive kick because his cape is actually what's hitting you and not him. So you can jump away and fake a retreat and then come back. Or do a jump and into it, you know, all that good stuff. But I think the fact that you can jump backwards and do it is pretty strong. Or you can jump over a projectile and then come in with it. It seems pretty darn decent despite the somewhat goofy animation. It seems like a very strong dive kick and you can do it pretty early and you can also do it off short hops. So it's pretty darn strong. Very punishable on block, but it still has all the benefits that a dive kick usually has. So not only is Spawn pretty good at keep away in this variation, and he has the parry, but he also has a dive kick for closing the distance. So pretty darn good. This variation seems really good at a lot of things. Not my favorite, I don't think, because not very many combos. But at the same time, if you're fighting somebody like upgraded Jackie, this move pretty much just says no to her jumping in, right? It's really good for that. You have the parries against lows, all that good stuff. This is a good variation for shutting down aggressive opponents. Alright, and now we have variation 2, otherwise known as the combo variation. But first up we have the glide. So this move can be cancelled into his jump-ins. He does not seem to have a way to manually drop out of it though. He has to actually commit to a jump-in of some kind. Even so, still seems pretty darn good. And he does have a close version. If you hold back, he kind of hovers a lot closer and doesn't go very far. So he does have a close version, but he can do it after a jumping kick, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. So the idea would be you kick, cancel into this, and then as they're getting up, you punch them. But still, he has kind of a weird arc. Kind of hard to make this work, actually. I don't know, this glide seems kind of difficult to make work, but it definitely is pretty cool. I like the idea. And you could do stuff like that. Oh, that was a double combo. Okay, you know what? Just got a lot better almost instantly. The problem is, as you can see, it is possible to hit behind the opponent without meaning to. So that kind of sucks, but it does lead to full combos if you're on point. And honestly, even if you don't want to do the crazy combo starters, it's still a great way to approach from the sky against a lot of keep away characters. Very few characters can actually hit you when you're way up here. So you can kind of come in with like a drop and kick and all that stuff, but then we have the charging hell spawn, and this move is what the variation's all about because he gets to combo off of pretty much anything now. And that makes him scary. This move, it's got a full hit confirm now. That's scary. And best of all, he gets a jump in. He gets a jump in combo. I messed it up. He gets a jump in combo just like Shao Kahn and characters of that nature. It's a bit tougher to time, honestly, but it's still really fun. He gets a jump in combo. And according to the game, the amplified version is actually safe on block, but you can't even do it on block. So it seems like the game's just kind of lying to us. So be wary. It's very punishable on block and you have no way of actually saving yourself. And that's about it for variation 2. So far, this is my favorite variation simply because Spawn actually does have hit confirms now. He can finally take his fastest mid, or his fastest low in this case, and then go, I'm gonna convert that. He can also land this move, which is a great whiff punish, and go, yeah, I'm gonna confirm that into a special move too. For that reason alone, I really like this build the most so far because I love my hit confirm combos. Seems like a lot of fun. Alright, and now we have variation 3. This one honestly might be the most complicated. So for starters, we have Hell Chain. So this is an unblockable command grab, believe it or not. And look at the range on this thing. But even so, yes, it is an unblockable throw. Oh, look at that range. That is ridiculous. If you're caught stand blocking from that far away, he will catch you. Now, can you duck it? Yes, you can. But with that said, Spawn's overheads lead to a full combo, so there are ways to keep you standing. In fact, is Devora still set to auto? Yes, she is. I want to check something out here, so. Yes, that totally works. So you can do back 1-2 for the overhead, and if they're scared of that, you do back 1 Hell Chain, and you get the command grabs. So that's gonna work quite a lot. It's gonna be really, really powerful. Now, with that said, of course, if the opponent reads that and ducks, they can uppercut you for a full combo, so it is risky, but still, the fact that you can do that, you can scare them with the overhead threat, and instead just go for the command grab is really strong. And then to make this move even better, you can amplify it, boom, get a bit more extra damage, pretty damaging command throw, and then if you hold down the amplify, you become invisible. Now the thing is, you actually do deal reduced damage in this state, so just keep that in mind. Even so, if you're invisible and you catch that command grab again and then amplify it, you get the crushing blow. 30%. That is unblockable, 30% while you're invisible. Very scary. Now the opponent might be expecting that, but if they are, you're gonna catch them with all these mids. They better be crouch blocking, and even so, you have the overheads, right? You have the lows, all that scary stuff. And also keep in mind, you are still able to block while you're invisible, but if you do block any attacks, you will exit the invisibility. And also you may have noticed that invisibility costs 1 defensive bar, not just 1 offensive bar, so keep that in mind. And next up we have Raising Hell. Oh my gosh, that's a fast low, and it's pretty much full screen. And I think it's a low anyway. Is it full screen? Yes, it's basically full screen. My goodness, a full screen low. That's going to be decent for countering keep away, and because it is a low, Spawn not only has a command grab 50-50, but he also has an instant low. That's crazy. Now, to be fair, the opponent could fuzzy guard and look out for that overhead, right? They block low right away and then stand up immediately. That would cover both situations, but even so, he has a 50-50 and a command grab in this build. So this definitely is the try and block me variation. It's the mix-up monster. Okay, and if you amplify, just a bit more damage it seems like. But what's it like on block? That might also be the difference. Oh yeah, only -7 and all this distance, whereas normally... Oh, -32. Okay, so you would amplify if they block it. And you actually do kind of have time to see if they block it. And then you amplify it. Okay, so it has a safe option, so a mix-up monster who can also keep himself safe. That's pretty darn strong. And then last but not least, we have his lethal Letha stance. Now this thing is so complicated I had to map all of it. So by default, it's a mid. And it's a pretty decent anti-air as a mid as well. Pretty darn strong. You can also hold it down to delay it. So maybe you want to catch the opponent trying to attack too early after a block string, or you just want to wait for them to jump and then catch them with it. You have the option to hold it down, and you can also cancel it by tapping up twice. So once again, Spawn just has a bunch of stance cancels. He is a stance cancel heavy character. And then on top of that, you can also change what the chains do. So by default, they go up, right? But if you hold down and then release, you get a low attack. And it switches sides. Wow, that's nuts. That looks really cool. And you can also amplify this low. And if you do, they will not switch sides. And a bit more damage too. So that's nice. By default, 96. If you want to amplify, you get even more. Oof. That is strong. Very powerful move. The stance cancel is what puts this move over the top. It's just got so many options. It has mix-ups, and you can also cancel it. That's really strong. Now, what's it like on block? Minus 18. Very, very risky. What's the low? Minus 14, yeah. So it's very punishable. I don't know. This stance doesn't really technically have a mix-up outside of the cancel because if you crouch block, you avoid pretty much everything he can do, right? He can still hold it down, and he can cancel it. That's the scary thing. But if Spawn doesn't have defensive bar, this move becomes a death sentence. Like, it really is. Alright, and that's it for Variation 3. This is definitely the mix-up variation. He has the command grab mix-up, he has the overhead low mix-up, he has the stance, which is also a bit of a mix-up in its own regard because he can cancel it. I kind of wish the cancel wasn't that you tap up twice because that's a bit inconsistent with his other stance cancel inputs, but it's still a really strong option to have. So this is the rushdown mix-up variation it looks like, and I think Raising Hell is going to be really good for countering zoning too. Like, it's not the best from super far away, but he does duck down to do it. So if you time it correctly, he could duck under a projectile and then counter with this. So it's pretty darn good. It does at least check the opponent. It's kind of like a less cheap version of Garrus's Sand Trap, and that first hit has better range than you think. Check that out. It hits a bit in front of him. So it's got some pretty decent range. It's going to be a great mix-up tool. It's going to be really good for block too because you can amplify and keep yourself safe. I think Raising Hell might be the strongest move he has in this build. The lethal stance is also pretty cool, and Hell Chain is a very fun command grab option. So it's a great mix-up variation. It's not my favorite, but you know what? I think it's my second favorite. Alright everyone, and that's about it for the Spawn breakdown. So now time for my final thoughts. When it comes to his mids, he's a bit slow, and even his fastest low is a bit slow, but his pokes are very on point, and he has tons of stance cancels. So I feel like once this character gets going, he's going to be very hard to stop. And also, Spawn kind of feels like a buffed up version of D'Vorah because D'Vorah also likes to attack from around this range, but hers are highs, whereas Spawn has mids. And he can also keep himself safe with special moves just like hers, so if you're a D'Vorah main, you might want to consider picking up Spawn because they have very similar distances that they want to live at. Their footsie game is quite similar. Now with all of that said, I don't think Spawn will be the most beginner friendly character because once again, a lot of these strings are very punishable on blocks, so it's going to be up to the player to go into a stance and then cancel that stance, and those options are only possible if you're being good with your meter management. So if you do a breakaway, you don't have options to save yourself. If you do 2 wake-ups in a row, you don't have those options to save yourself either. So it's going to be up to the player to be responsible and make sure to never put Spawn in a dangerous situation like that. And if you do, make sure you have the bar so you can save him. So after all of that, I do think Spawn is terrific. He has really strong whiff punish potential. He has some really crazy mix-ups, he has a unique parry, he has a strong zoning variation, and his command grab mix-up seems really strong. So I do think in the hands of a skilled player, he's going to be a nightmare to deal with, but a lot of beginners are going to do a lot of unsafe stuff and get punished all the time if they don't learn to use those stance cancels all the time. But please let me know your thoughts on Spawn in the comment section down below, and then while you're down there, go ahead and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It really does help my channel out a ton. And then why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell. That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.